Part 1, The Accidental Connection. The warning lights on Marcus Reed's cargo hauler blinked red with increasing urgency as another system failure cascaded through his ship's aging infrastructure. He gripped the pilot's chair, sweat beading on his forehead as the life support system wheezed and groaned like a dying animal. The headache that had started as a dull throb behind his eyes now felt like someone was driving railroad spikes through his skull. "Come on, old girl," he muttered to the ship, running diagnostics on the failing engine core. "Just hold together long enough to get us somewhere safe." The Fortune's Dream had been his home for 3 years, hauling cargo between the outer colonies and the core worlds. She wasn't much to look at, but she'd been reliable until this morning when everything decided to break down at once in the middle of nowhere, halfway between the Kepler system and his destination at New Geneva Station. Marcus's fingers flew over the communications array, broadcasting a standard distress signal into the void. The odds of anyone hearing it out here were slim, but it was better than drifting until his life support gave out entirely. He closed his eyes, trying to massage away the pain that seemed to be getting worse by the minute. 20 minutes later, when he'd almost given up hope, his comm system crackled to life. "Unknown vessel, this is the research ship Stellar Bloom," came a melodic voice with an accent he couldn't place. "We've received your distress call. Are you in immediate danger?" Marcus nearly laughed with relief. "This is Marcus Reed aboard the Fortune's Dream. Engine failure, life support compromised. I'm not in immediate danger, but I won't be going anywhere without major repairs. Stand by, Marcus Reed. We're adjusting course to intercept. Estimated arrival in 47 minutes. As promised, the Stellar Bloom appeared on his sensors less than an hour later. Through his viewport, Marcus watched the sleek research vessel approach, its hull gleaming white with flowing curves that seemed almost organic. It was nothing like the boxy, utilitarian ships he was used to seeing. This vessel was elegant, beautiful even, clearly built by non-human hands. The docking procedure was smooth and professional. As the airlock sealed and pressurized, Marcus gathered his essential belongings, knowing he'd likely need to abandon his ship until he could arrange for proper repairs. The headache had worsened during the wait, and now his vision was starting to blur around the edges. The airlock cycled open, revealing a corridor that took his breath away. Soft, bioluminescent panels provided warm, natural lighting, and the walls curved in organic patterns that seemed to pulse gently with life. The air smelled clean and fresh, with hints of something floral he couldn't identify. "Welcome aboard the Stellar Bloom," came that same melodic voice from the comm system, but now in person. Marcus turned and felt his heart skip a beat. The woman approaching him was stunning in a way that defied easy description. Her skin was a pale silver blue that seemed to shimmer under the ship's lighting, and her hair fell in waves of deep midnight black streaked with silver. But it was her eyes that captured him completely, large and luminous violet that seemed to hold depths he could lose himself in. She wore what appeared to be a form-fitting jumpsuit in soft blue-gray, clearly tailored to complement her graceful, humanoid figure. Everything about her seemed designed to be both alien and utterly captivating. "I'm Zara Velferi," she said, extending a slender hand with 4 fingers instead of 5. "I'm the ship's medical specialist." "You don't look well, Marcus Reed." "Just Marcus," he managed, shaking her hand and trying not to stare. "And you're right, I've got a killer headache. My ship's life support has been acting up for hours." Zara's violet eyes narrowed with concern. "Atmospheric poisoning, most likely. Carbon dioxide buildup or oxygen recycler malfunction." She gestured for him to follow her down the corridor. "Let's get you to the medical bay." As they walked, Marcus found his eyes drawn to the graceful way she moved, the gentle sway of her hips, the way her hair caught the light. Despite his pain, he couldn't help but appreciate her beauty, and his mind wandered to thoughts of what it might be like to run his fingers through that silky hair, to trace the elegant line of her neck, to explore the differences and similarities between their species. "God, she's incredible," he thought. "I wonder what her skin feels like, whether it's as soft as it looks." "Focus, Marcus. You're being rescued by aliens, not hitting on them." They entered what was clearly a medical facility, but unlike any he'd seen before. Instead of the sterile white surfaces he expected, the room was filled with soft, curved furnishings in earth tones, with plants growing in wall-mounted gardens. It felt more like a spa than a medical bay. "Please, sit here," Zara said, indicating a comfortable chair that seemed to mold itself to his body as he settled into it. "I need to examine you to determine the exact cause of your distress." "I'm fine, really," Marcus protested weakly. "Just need some fresh air and maybe a pain reliever." "Nonsense. You're clearly suffering from some form of atmospheric contamination." Zara moved closer, and Marcus caught a subtle scent from her skin, something like vanilla and starlight. "May I?" She raised her hand toward his forehead, and Marcus nodded, not trusting his voice. The moment her cool fingers touched his temple, two things happened simultaneously. The crushing pain in his head vanished like someone had flipped a switch, and his eyes widened in shock as he realized what had just occurred. "Oh," Zara breathed, her violet eyes going wide. A soft blush spread across her silver-blue cheeks, turning them a delicate lavender color. I didn't mean to. Did you just read my mind?" Marcus asked, mortification flooding through him as he remembered exactly what he'd been thinking when she touched him. "I'm so sorry, I wasn't trying to. I mean, I didn't know you could." Zara's hand remained on his temple, and now her lips curved into a small, knowing smile. "Your thoughts are quite vivid, Marcus. And rather flattering, actually." "This is incredibly embarrassing," Marcus said, feeling heat rise in his cheeks. "I swear I'm not usually so human," Zara suggested, her smile widening. "Because I must say, your species has quite an interesting approach to initial attraction. Very direct." "You're not offended?" Marcus asked, surprised by her reaction. "Should I be?" Zara tilted her head, studying him with obvious curiosity. "Your thoughts suggest you find me attractive, but also that you respect me as a person. I sense no malice or objectification, merely appreciation." "That's one way to put it," Marcus said wryly. "But yes, I definitely find you attractive. Is that going to be a problem?" Zara's fingers lingered on his temple, and he could feel something warm and tingly passing between them through the contact. "I don't think so," she said softly. "In fact, I find your honesty refreshing. Most beings guard their thoughts so carefully around me that I never know what they're really thinking." "Must be lonely," Marcus observed, and he saw something flicker in her eyes, a vulnerability that made his heart ache. "It can be," she admitted. "But perhaps not always." They looked at each other for a long moment, the air between them charged with possibility. Finally, Zara stepped back, though she seemed reluctant to break the contact. "Your headache should be gone now," she said, her professional demeanor returning though her eyes still held warmth. "I'll need to run some scans to make sure there are no lingering effects from the atmospheric contamination, but you should be fine." "Thank you," Marcus said, standing and finding that he felt better than he had in hours. "I don't suppose you could teach me how to do that? The healing thing, I mean." Zara laughed, a sound like silver bells. "I'm afraid telepathic healing is rather species-specific. But I could teach you other things, if you're interested in learning about our ways." "I'd like that very much," Marcus said, and meant it. "I'd like that very much indeed." As Zara began preparing her medical scanners, Marcus realized that his engine failure might have been the best thing that had happened to him in years. Something told him this was going to be a journey unlike any other. The next morning found Marcus in the Stellar Blooms observation lounge, watching the stars drift past through the massive transparent dome overhead. The coffee in his hands was synthesized but surprisingly good, and for the first time in months, he felt truly relaxed. His headache was completely gone, replaced by a curious lightness that seemed to emanate from somewhere near his heart. "Mind if I join you?" came a familiar melodic voice. Marcus turned to see Zara approaching with her own cup of what appeared to be some kind of luminescent tea. She'd changed from her medical uniform into more casual clothing, a flowing tunic in deep purple that complemented her silver-blue skin beautifully. "Please," Marcus said, gesturing to the curved bench beside him. "I was hoping I'd see you again. I wanted to thank you properly for yesterday." "No thanks necessary," Zara replied, settling gracefully beside him. "It's what any healer would do. Though I must admit, your recovery was remarkably swift. Human physiology is quite resilient." "Is that your professional opinion, or personal observation?" Marcus asked with a smile. A soft blush colored Zara's cheeks. "Perhaps a bit of both. I've been wondering about something since yesterday. Your thoughts were so vivid. Is that typical for humans, or are you particularly expressive?" Marcus nearly choked on his coffee. "Are we really going to talk about my inappropriate thoughts over breakfast?" "Were they inappropriate?" Zara asked, tilting her head with genuine curiosity. "By whose standards?" "Your species finds mine attractive, apparently. I'm curious about what that means to you." Marcus set down his cup, considering how to answer. "Well, humans are visual creatures. We're drawn to beauty, symmetry, grace. You possess all of those qualities in abundance. But attraction isn't just physical for us, not when it matters. It's also about intelligence, kindness, the way someone moves through the world." "And what did you observe about how I move through the world?" Zara asked, her violet eyes intent on his face. "You're gentle but confident. You touch people to heal them, but you're careful about consent. You could have dug deeper into my mind yesterday, but you didn't. You respected my privacy even when I was thinking loudly." Zara's expression softened. "Most people fear telepaths because they assume we're always listening, always judging. The truth is, maintaining that kind of constant connection would be exhausting. We only access thoughts when invited, or when someone is projecting very strongly." "Like I was yesterday," Marcus said ruefully. "Like you were yesterday," she confirmed with a smile. "Though I must say, your projections were far more pleasant than most. Usually when people think strongly in my presence, it's because they're angry or afraid." Before Marcus could respond, a booming voice echoed through the lounge. "Ah, there's our human guest." They turned to see a large, bear-like alien approaching, his golden fur gleaming and his multiple arms gesturing enthusiastically. Marcus estimated he stood nearly 7 feet tall, with kind amber eyes and a warm smile that revealed surprisingly human-like teeth. "Marcus, this is Captain Jorix," Zara said, rising to greet the newcomer. "Captain, Marcus Reed, our rescued cargo hauler. Excellent timing on that breakdown, my friend." Jorix boomed, clasping Marcus's hand in a grip that could have crushed stone. "We've been studying human engineering techniques for months. Your species has such creative solutions to mechanical problems. Very efficient, very practical." "Thank you, Captain," Marcus said, trying not to wince at the handshake. "Though I'd hardly call a complete engine failure efficient." "Ah, but it brought you to us. And Zara tells me you're quite recovered from your atmospheric poisoning. Our healer has gentle hands, yes." Marcus glanced at Zara, who was now a distinctly deeper shade of lavender. "She does indeed. I've never experienced anything like her healing abilities. The telepathic arts run strong in her family line," Jorix continued, apparently oblivious to Zara's embarrassment. "Very rare, very precious. We're fortunate to have her aboard." "Captain," Zara said quickly, "perhaps Marcus would like a tour of the ship? I could show him our research facilities." "Excellent idea. Yes, yes, show him everything. We have much to learn from each other, I think." Jorix beamed at them both before bounding away with surprising grace for his size. "He seems enthusiastic," Marcus observed as they left the lounge. "He's excited about the research possibilities. The stellar bloom is part of an interspecies scientific exchange program. We study different cultures, technologies, biological adaptations. You're the first human we've encountered." "Lucky me," Marcus said. Though I have to ask, what exactly did you mean when you said the telepathic arts run in your family? Are all your people telepathic? Zara led him down a corridor lined with what appeared to be living walls, plants growing in intricate patterns that pulsed gently with bioluminescence. Not all, no. Perhaps 1 in 10,000. It's considered a gift, but also a burden. Intimate relationships are complicated when you can sense your partner's every emotion. I imagine they would be. Do you always know what people are feeling? With most species, yes. Emotions have a particular resonance that I can detect. But humans. She paused at a junction in the corridor. Humans are different. Your emotional patterns are more complex, layered. I can sense the surface feelings, but there are depths I can't reach without direct contact. Is that why you touched my forehead yesterday? Partly. Physical contact enhances the connection, allows for deeper healing. But with you. She trailed off, looking uncertain. With me, what? Zara stopped walking and turned to face him fully. With you, the connection felt different. Not just healing, but sharing. For a moment, I could see through your eyes, feel what you felt. It was unlike anything I've experienced. Marcus felt something flutter in his chest. Was it unpleasant? No, she said softly. Quite the opposite. It was beautiful, Marcus. The way you see the world, the way you see me, it's so different from how my own people perceive things. So immediate and intense and honest. They stood looking at each other in the gently pulsing corridor, the moment stretching between them like a bridge waiting to be crossed. Finally, Marcus spoke. Would you like to try it again? The connection, I mean. Not for healing, just to understand each other better. Zara's eyes widened. You would allow that? Even knowing I might see things you prefer to keep private? I think I'd like you to know me, Marcus said simply. Really know me. If you're willing. Slowly, carefully, Zara raised her hand to his cheek. The moment her fingers made contact, the world exploded into sensation and shared experience. Marcus felt himself seeing through her eyes, experiencing her wonder at the subtle play of emotions across his face, her fascination with the warmth of human skin, her curiosity about the rapid beating of his heart. At the same time, he sensed her own feelings, the loneliness she carried from being feared and misunderstood, her yearning for genuine connection, her growing attraction to him that mirrored his own. The connection lasted only seconds, but when it broke, they were both breathing hard, staring at each other with new understanding. That was. Marcus began. Intense, Zara finished. I could feel your emotions as if they were my own. Is that how humans always experience feelings? So immediately, so powerfully? When they're strong enough, yes. And what I'm feeling for you, Zara, it's very strong. She smiled, a radiant expression that made his heart skip. I know. I can sense it even without touching you. And Marcus? The feeling is mutual. Even though I'm not your species. Even though we're so different. Perhaps because we're different, she said thoughtfully. My people are very controlled, very measured in their emotions. We have to be, living so closely with telepaths. But you feel everything fully, without reservation. It's remarkable. It's also messy and complicated and often inconvenient, Marcus warned. I think I'd like to learn about messy and complicated, Zara said, her violet eyes sparkling with mischief. If you're willing to teach me. I think that could be arranged, Marcus replied, offering her his arm. But first, how about that tour? I'd like to see more of your remarkable ship. Our ship, Zara corrected gently, taking his arm. For as long as you'd like to stay. As they continued down the corridor, Marcus realized that his broken-down cargo hauler was the furthest thing from his mind. Whatever repairs it needed could wait. He had much more interesting things to explore right here, starting with the fascinating woman beside him and the connection growing stronger between them with every passing moment. Tell me about your research, he said as they approached what appeared to be a laboratory filled with crystalline structures that hummed with soft music. Gladly, Zara replied, and Marcus could hear the smile in her voice. But I warn you, once you get me started on biology and interspecies adaptation, I can talk for hours. I have hours, Marcus said, and meant it completely. I have all the time in the world. 3 days had passed since Marcus's rescue, and he found himself settling into the rhythm of life aboard the Stellar Bloom with surprising ease. The ship's diverse crew had welcomed him warmly, particularly after he'd helped engineer Kex solve a recurring problem with their secondary power coupling using what he called human stubbornness and a really big wrench. Kex was a gruff, crystalline being whose body looked like living gemstone, all faceted surfaces and internal light. Despite his intimidating appearance, he had a dry sense of humor and an appreciation for practical solutions. Your species doesn't overthink problems, Kex had observed, watching Marcus bypass 3 safety protocols to reach a corroded connection. Very refreshing. We would have spent weeks running simulations. Sometimes the direct approach is best, Marcus had replied, earning what passed for a smile from the engineer. Now, as evening settled over the ship and most of the crew retired to their quarters, Marcus found himself in the ship's arboretum with Zara. The vast chamber was filled with plants from dozens of worlds, creating a living tapestry of colors and scents that shifted gently in the artificial breeze. They sat together on a bench carved from what appeared to be living wood, watching bioluminescent flowers open to release tiny points of light that drifted upward like stars. Over the past few days, their conversations had ranged from engineering to philosophy, from childhood memories to dreams of the future. Each discussion deepened their understanding of each other, and Marcus found himself falling harder with every passing hour. Tell me about your world, Zara said softly, her shoulder touching his as they watched the light seeds drift overhead. What's Earth like? Complicated, Marcus said with a rueful smile. Beautiful and terrible, sometimes at the same time. We have oceans that stretch to the horizon, mountains that touch the clouds, forests so deep you can walk for days without seeing the sky. But we also have cities that sprawl for hundreds of miles, pollution that chokes the air, people who can't agree on the simplest things. It sounds overwhelming. It can be. That's why I took to space. Out here, things are simpler. You have your ship, your cargo, your destination. The problems are immediate and solvable. He glanced at her, taking in the way the flower light played across her features. Though lately, I'm discovering that simple isn't always better. What do you mean? Marcus turned to face her fully. I mean that what I'm feeling for you, Zara, it's anything but simple. It's complex and confusing and wonderful and terrifying all at once. Her violet eyes searched his face. Show me, she whispered, raising her hand toward his cheek. Let me feel what you feel. The moment her fingers touched his skin, the telepathic connection blazed to life, stronger than ever before. Marcus felt himself drowning in sensation as their minds merged, sharing not just thoughts but the deep currents of emotion that ran beneath consciousness. Through their link, Zara experienced the fierce tenderness that had been growing in his heart, the way his pulse quickened when she smiled, the protective instinct that flared whenever she seemed vulnerable. She felt his wonder at her alien beauty, but also his deeper attraction to her intelligence, her kindness, her gentle strength. In return, Marcus sensed her own growing feelings, the way his presence had begun to fill the lonely spaces in her heart. He felt her fascination with his emotional directness, so different from her own people's careful control. He experienced her desire to know him completely, to share the intimate connection that her telepathic nature made possible. But there was something else in the link now, something new and unexpected. Their emotions were beginning to resonate together, creating harmonics neither had experienced before. What had started as sharing was becoming something deeper, a genuine melding of hearts and minds. When the connection finally broke, they were both gasping, staring at each other with wonder and slight alarm. That was. Zara began, her voice shaky. Different, Marcus finished. Stronger. What's happening to us? I don't know, she admitted. This isn't in any of our literature about telepathic bonds. The resonance effect. I've never heard of anything like it. Marcus reached for her hand, and even that simple contact sent warm pulses through their shared awareness. Is it dangerous? I don't think so. It feels. She paused, searching for words. It feels like coming home. Like finding a part of myself I didn't know was missing. I know exactly what you mean, Marcus said softly. He stood, still holding her hand, and drew her to her feet. Zara, I need to tell you something. I think I'm falling in love with you. Her breath caught, and through their enhanced connection, he felt her heart leap with joy and fear in equal measure. Marcus. I know it's complicated. I know we're different species, and I don't even know if what I'm feeling is real or some side effect of the telepathic bond. But I had to tell you. It's real, she said firmly. What you're feeling, what we're both feeling, it's not an artificial effect of the bond, Marcus. The bond exists because of what we feel, not the other way around. How can you be sure? Because I've touched the minds of hundreds of beings over the years, and never once has this happened. This connection, this resonance, it's unique to us. To what we are together. Marcus cupped her face in his hands, marveling at the soft warmth of her skin. Then what happens now? Now. Zara's lips curved in a smile that made his heart race. Now you kiss me, and we see where this remarkable connection takes us. Their first kiss was electric, literally and figuratively. The moment their lips met, the telepathic bond flared bright as a star, sharing not just the physical sensation but the emotional significance of the moment. Marcus tasted starlight and cinnamon, felt the flutter of Zara's pulse against his lips, experienced her wonder at the warmth and texture of human kisses. When they finally broke apart, both were trembling with the intensity of shared sensation. Your quarters or mine? Zara whispered against his lips. Yours, Marcus replied, his voice rough with emotion. I want to see your world, understand everything about you. Zara's quarters were a reflection of her nature, filled with soft curves and living things. Bioluminescent vines traced patterns across the walls, and the air hummed with gentle music that seemed to emanate from the plants themselves. The bed was large and low, covered in fabrics that shifted color like aurora. They came together slowly, reverently, taking time to explore the wonderful differences and surprising similarities between their bodies. Every touch was amplified by their telepathic connection, creating feedback loops of pleasure and emotion that built to crescendos neither had imagined possible. Through their link, Marcus experienced touch from Zara's perspective, felt how his human warmth and texture were exotic and thrilling to her alien senses. She, in turn, felt his wonder at her luminescent skin, his fascination with the way her body responded to his touch with subtle shifts in color and bioluminescence. They made love with a passion intensified by perfect understanding, each knowing exactly what the other needed, wanted, craved. The telepathic bond carried them beyond mere physical joining to something transcendent, a unity of body, mind, and spirit that left them both changed. Afterward, they lay entwined in the shifting aurora light of her bed coverings, their telepathic connection settled into a warm, constant awareness of each other's presence. I can feel your heartbeat, Zara murmured against his chest. Not just physically, but emotionally. The rhythm of your feelings. Is that normal for your people? This level of connection? No, she said softly. Even among my own kind, telepathic bonds this deep are rare. Usually, they form only between life mates who've been together for decades. What we've achieved in mere days, it's unprecedented. Marcus stroked her hair, marveling at the way individual strands seem to catch and hold light. What does it mean for us? I think it means we're bonded now, truly bonded. Part of each other in ways that transcend species or distance. She lifted her head to look at him, her violet eyes serious. Marcus, I need you to understand what this means. Telepathic bonds of this depth are permanent. Even if we were separated by galaxies, I would still feel your presence in my mind, still know when you were happy or sad or afraid. Are you warning me or promising me? Marcus asked, tucking a strand of her hair behind her ear. Both, she admitted. This bond will change us, change how we experience the world. And there's no going back. Marcus considered this, feeling the warm certainty of their connection flowing between them. I don't want to go back, he said finally. Whatever this is, whatever we're becoming together, it's the most real thing I've ever felt. Even if it means giving up your old life. Your ship, your independence, your plans. My ship is a bucket of bolts, my independence was just loneliness in disguise, and my plans never included finding someone like you. He pulled her closer, feeling her settle against him like a missing piece clicking into place. I love you, Zara. Whatever that means for our species, whatever challenges we'll face. I love you. I love you too, she whispered, and through their bond, he felt the absolute truth of her words, the deep current of emotion that carried no doubt, no reservation. I love you with everything I am, everything I'm becoming because of you. They fell asleep in each other's arms as the ship sailed between the stars, their dreams intertwining through their telepathic bond, creating shared visions of a future filled with love, discovery, and the endless possibilities that opened before two souls who had found their perfect match across the vast reaches of space. Outside their window, the cosmos stretched infinite and welcoming, and for the first time in his life, Marcus felt like he was exactly where he belonged.